Hey guys, it's Bob from World 5 List, and I have one question for you. Do you like to eat? And if so, do you know that it can kill you? Join me as I take you through 11 of the most deadly foods that exist in the world today. Number 11. The pufferfish. Now, while it is true that there are a lot of dangerous foods in the world that are unknown to most, the first entry on my list is one that's probably actually widely known. It's the pufferfish. After being discovered as poisonous, the word would spread all over the world so that people were actually aware of what it is. It's even been featured in television shows and the original Dragon Ball anime. The ironic thing about it, though, is that the pufferfish is actually considered to be a delicacy in Japan. So how is it that they can eat it if it's so deadly? Well, it's all about how it's prepared and cooked to eat. You see, within the pufferfish is tetrodotoxin, and it's so powerful and toxic that there's no known cure for it in the world, which is what makes it one of the most deadly foods out there. And how it's secreted is just as interesting. If a human or a predator cuts into the pufferfish's skin in the wrong way, the toxin is going to emerge and it's going to freeze your muscles until you die. So, if you're looking to have sushi tonight, just think about this fish and make sure that you have a proper chef serving it to you. Number 10. The African giant bullfrog. Sticking with delicacies from other countries and continents, we now move over to Africa, where the people of the country Namibia love to dine on a very interesting creature, that being the giant bullfrog. Now, frogs may not be your first choice for a fine cuisine, but hey, if they like it, who am I to really stop them? It's become a problem though, because you see, the giant bullfrog can actually be quite deadly if it's not cooked at the exact right time. If they're cooked when they're still young, the meat that they give will have a poison that's so powerful it can cause you kidney failure. So thankfully, people have gotten really good at picking out the frogs that they like, and there are actually medicines that can help cure you, unlike the pufferfish. So if you ever do make it to Namibia and are asked to eat a giant bullfrog, just make sure that it's one that's matured. You know, to be safe. Number 9. ACKEE. Now, when you think of Jamaica, you'll likely concoct images of reggae bands, tropical weather, and the all-time classic movie Cool Runnings. I mean, I still own it on VHS. But that's also home to one of the deadliest fruits in the world. In fact, so deadly that it's banned from being imported into the United States. But why? Well, not unlike the pufferfish and the giant bullfrog, timing and precision is everything. This fruit is defined by its age, not unlike the bullfrog. However, this one has a more obvious clue as to when it's actually fine to pick. If it's red, that means that the ACKEE is ripe, and thus it's okay to eat. However, if it's still yellow, it's extremely poisonous. What's more, it's a poison that's going to affect you in many ways, which includes making you vomit on a constant basis, and it can even kill you if it's ingested enough. As if that wasn't enough to be scared of the fruit, there are black seeds within that are always poisonous. So forget fruit of the poisonous tree, this is a tree that has a poisonous fruit. Number 8. Kidney beans. Now, you may be surprised by how many foods you can possibly eat right now that actually do have toxins or poisons when they're first around. For example, kidney beans are a fun thing to eat with a lot of foods. But did you know that when they're raw, they can be extremely poisonous? That's right, they contain a poison, and the more that you eat in the raw form, the more sick you're going to become. So how come you can eat them if they all have a deadly poison inside? Well, the processing and cooking of the kidney beans makes it so that the poison becomes inert. Or, at the very least, it becomes so small in portion that it's impossible to get sick off of the poison itself. Don't get me wrong though, you can still get sick from eating too many of them, but that's on you. So just choose wisely and be mindful of the work that goes into making you a tasty meal. Number 7. Hot dogs. But before I get on to the American classic, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to our channel and turn on your notifications so you get more videos like these in the future. Now, it almost pains me to have to put hot dogs on here. I mean, they're a key part of human life, right? Or, well, American life at least. But still, I love hot dogs. They're the essential part of my childhood. However, that doesn't mean that they don't come without deadly repercussions. And no, I'm not talking about hot dogs that have been spoiled or haven't been cooked thoroughly. Basically, what I'm telling you is that because of the shape of the hot dog, if you don't eat them in a careful way, they can actually cause you to choke and die. It's been recorded numerous times with children, which is often why some parents will chop up the hot dogs for their younger kids, all to ensure that they don't take too big of a bite. And yes, adults do have this problem, though it is rare. It is still something to be mindful of. The lesson here is simple. Unless you're a professional hot dog eater, just take small bites when you eat them. Why don't you tell me how many hot dogs you've ever eaten in one sitting, and if you ever had any complications in the comments below. Number 6. CASSAVA. This one still boggles my mind. This food can be found in South America, and it's a root that can be cooked to be quite delicious. Many of the locals love having this root as part of their meal. However, you should never, ever eat the root raw, or just as bad, prepare it incorrectly. Because if you do, either way, you're going to find out a very deadly secret about cassava. It can transform into hydrogen cyanide. That's right, cyanide. The thing that spies like to use to kill themselves, well, allegedly anyway, when in trouble or in enemy captivity. This plant becomes a version of that, which is really terrifying in every sense of the word. As for how you'll die if you ingest the plant raw, your body's going to find itself struggling to breathe, as your very cells within stop working in terms of respiration. Your body's also going to shut down without any kind of oxygen, and then you'll just die. That's a rough way to just go and eat some food, right? But wait, there's more. There are 2 different kinds of cassava, one with a sweet taste and one with a bitter taste. Though the sweet has a lot less poison, it can kill a large cow if only 2 of them are eaten. So just imagine what the bitter one does. On second thought, how about we not, and we just move on. But one more thing about cassava. Did you know that it can actually be used to make tapioca? Tapioca pudding is gross though. Just my opinion. Number 5. Mushrooms. Here's a fun one to chew on. Who here hates mushrooms? Maybe you love them. Maybe you love them on your pizza. Maybe you put them on your salad or just eat them by themselves. Any way that you slice them, you'd probably think that they were the safest thing to eat on the planet. And you could be very, very wrong. In fact, if you pick the wrong kind of mushroom in the wild, you're asking for trouble, sickness, and possibly even death. Now, there are so many species of mushroom that it's honestly no definitive count as to just how many there are, and because of that, it's really risky to eat any kind of them that you find in the wild. Depending on the one you pick, you could just end up sick, or you could eat something like a death cap and literally keel over. Then there's the species like webcaps, skullcaps, destroying angels. Really, who comes up with these names? And the deadly dapperling, each of which can kill you within hours if not minutes. So what exactly do you do? Well, there are ways to help identify mushrooms so that you don't end up dying. The other option is to ensure you have someone like a guide who's very well versed in the items that can be found in the area that you're traveling through. No matter what you do, you should always be very, very careful, or that first bite may just be your last. Number 4. CASU MARZU. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and label this under the category of why in the world are people even eating this? Just reading the description makes me want to vomit, and yet there are people who actually enjoy it. CASU MARZU is made in Italy, and it's affectionately called the rotting cheese. Well, that's because in order to help the cheese ferment, they leave it out in the open for several days. Then flies will come and land on the cheese, lay their eggs inside, and take off. And you can really guess what happens next, right? That's right, maggots. Maggots are going to grow inside of the cheese and then start to eat it for themselves before the humans come back. But wait, it does get worse. That's because when the people eat the cheese, they sometimes eat the maggots that are inside, which is a real big problem, because maggots can actually survive in the human body and wreak a whole lot of havoc. Thankfully, though, the cheese is now illegal to process, and unfortunately, people really don't care and they eat it anyway. I mean, why? Just why? Number 3, rhubarb. Another tasty treat that has a hidden twist if you're not careful. Rhubarb has become a beloved version of pie and is enjoyed all around the world. However, there is one rule that every person that eats it must understand. When you cook the rhubarb, you use the stem and not the leaves. The leaves, as it turns out, are very poisonous. Now, they're only poisonous in the right amounts, so if you do happen to nibble on one, you would probably be fine, but I wouldn't take the risk. If you eat too much, you're going to start suffering from seizures, and then you'll develop respiratory problems, both of which are terrible, and both of which can kill you. Always remember to look at the instructions before you cook, alright? Number 2. Elderberries. Now really, with a video like this one, I could have an entire video just dedicated to berries. I mean, after all, not unlike mushrooms, berries are everywhere in the world, and at first glance, they seem kinda harmless, but they're anything but that. For, like mushrooms, if you eat the wrong one, you're not going to have the chance to make that mistake again. One of the more deadly versions is the elderberry. Elderberries, when prepared properly, can make a great jam, a delicious wine, or other tasty treats. However, they do come with a 1-2 punch of poison inside. Their seeds and leaves contain glycoside, which can help create cyanide, which, as I noted earlier, is something you don't really want in your system. To be fair though, it would take a large amount of it to kill you, about 5 cups of the stuff, but considering that it can go into jams and wines, and if it's not prepared correctly, it might only take you about 1 night of dining for you to fall victim. Number 1. Peanuts. Peanuts deserve a top spot, and maybe not for the reason that you'd probably expect. Just like berries and mushrooms, there are various forms of nuts, and some of them are actually poisonous when in the raw. However, when it comes to basic peanuts, that's something else altogether. You see, 1% of the world is actually allergic to peanuts, so if they aren't careful, the allergic reaction that they have can be catastrophic and even deadly. Now, if you know someone with a peanut allergy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, peanuts are known to be the #1 cause of food allergy deaths in the world. And remember, I said 1% has an allergy to peanuts, and there are 7 billion people in the world. Now, that means that 70 million are allergic to nuts. They may be delicious, but they can also be deadly. Thanks for watching. Have you ever had any of the foods on my list? Or have you come close to having the foods? Let me know all about it in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time.